Hello guys, welcome to the OSHA Academy Project Management Training, online training. So today we'll be talking about the project charter. Previously we discussed about project management process. Here we talked about the initiation phase of a project. We said we end the initiation phase of a project with a document called the project charter. And then after the project charter, you review that phase and then you move on to the next phase, which is the project planning phase. And so today we'll be discussing the project charter. And remember, we said the project charter is a binding document between the project sponsor and the project manager. So here's what a project charter should look like. Now the first item here is the project name. You should give your project a name. Any project you're embarking on must have a name. The next thing there is the project code. And this project code is talking about a code that those who are related to the project can understand. Only those related to the project will be able to decipher this code. Now, take for instance, if you are used to traveling on the highway, you will discover that some of those highway construction, road construction that are ongoing, you will discover that they have a signpost by the roadside with the name of the project, the company in charge of the project, and underneath you are going to see project code where they will write some alphabet, maybe like something like ASB slash WWRO ESP and some figures 002 or 001. You understand? Now, for you that is not into that project that have nothing to do with that project, you may not be able to decipher those code. But those people that are into the project, those that are related with that project, simply know what those things stand for. Similarly to the WhatsApp group that I opened for you guys, that I added you guys. Now, if you look at that WhatsApp group, the naming of that WhatsApp group, I use a code. I use OSHA HSE slash PMP slash WWRO 02 slash 020. Now, for people who are not into this training, they may not understand what those things stand for. But for those who are into this training, once they see those things, they simply know what it means. You know that the OSHA is talking about the name of the company, the HSC, the PMP is talking about the courses we are taking, the WWR is talking about worry, which is where the training is going on. The O2 and 2 is talking about the month and the year. So those who are related into this training, we understand what those symbols or a name or code stand for. But those who are not related with the project will be thrown, will not understand what those things simply means. You understand? So that's what the project code is talking about, giving the project a code that those who are related with the project only can understand. Then the next thing that's talking about the start dates and the end date. Remember, we said a project is anything that you embark on that has a starting date and an end date to meet up a specific objective. Understand? So you state your date of starting the project and the date the project is to end. So the next item there is the sponsor. The sponsor is talking about the individual or organization who is sponsoring this project. Then you have the project manager, you put down the name of the project manager. Then you have the support. The support is talking about somebody that can act in your capacity in your absence, something like an assistant manager. Understand? If there is any body of such, you also include that person. Then the next thing they're talking about the team members. Now, the team members are those with the technical know-how to help you deliver on that project. Now, remember we said you as a project manager, your duty is not to carry out the actual project. You understand? You are not the one with the technical know-how to deliver on that project. Rather, what you are doing as a project manager is management. You are managing the time of that project, you are managing the scope of that project, as well as the budget, and also the risk and resources made available for that project. So those are the things you are managing. Your team members are the ones that have the technical know-how, the skills to help you deliver on that project. Now, take for instance, in a building construction, where you want to build a house. Now, in your team member for building that house should be maybe a contractor, is going to be in charge of the foundation and laying of the blocks and all that. Also, you are also going to have an electrician as your team member. You will have a plumber as your team member. You will also have a carpenter as your team member. We have a painter and so on and so forth. All those people with various skills and technical know-how to help you deliver on those projects are those that should be making up your team members. Now, these team members are very important because the team member can help you to know the budget, uh, the budget for that project even before you start the project. They can help you ascertain if this your project is feasible. Understand? The team member can help you ascertain if your project is teamable, is feasible by helping you determine the budget for that project, as well as making you understand if the time for the end date for that project is feasible. You understand? Take for instance the in that your project of building a house. Now the contractor who is in charge of laying the blocks and all that can tell you that okay, for this building we are going to be needing 2,000 blocks, and this 2,000 blocks is going to cost about 100,000. Understand? The electrician will tell you that okay, the wires and the piping we need for this building is going to cost close to 300,000. The carpenter will tell you as well. So with all those different estimates, you can then be able to project how much the project is going to cost for your sponsor. Also, because of their technical know-how, they can be able to tell if the time frame given by the project sponsor is attainable for that project, because the contractor already know that okay, a building of this size is going to take a possibly number of days. You understand? The electrician will ascertain how long his own role is going to take. By the time you put all their different expected times together, you can be able to tell the actual time the project, you can be able to tell the possible time that that project will take, and then you communicate with your sponsor, discuss with your sponsor if the time he or she has given will be the end date he or she has given is attainable. Understand? So another thing you should consider in your team member is that always try to ensure that your team members are people that are experienced and renowned, understand, to help boost your profile as a project manager. Take for instance, you want to try and get a contract from the government, you understand, and then after writing, you indicate your team members as a Niger Card. Let's say it's a contract of tying a road. Then you indicated that your team members is a Niger Cat. You understand? That Niger Cat is a renowned company and trusted company. So by having such a company as your team members, it will help boost your potential for getting that contract. You understand? So try to have team members who are experienced to help boost your project management profile. Then the next thing there is the goals and objective. Now, the objective of a project can be more than one. You can have more than one objective for a project. For instance, let's say for instance you want to embark on a project to construct street lights on a particular area. Now, that street light construction could have more than one objective. One of the objectives there could be okay. Let's one of the objectives now would be like for beautification. You are constructing those street light for the purpose of what? Beautification. The another objective could be security purposes. You understand? You want that place to have bright light so that to prevent people from snatching bags and all those stuffs at night. You understand? There may be another objective could also be to reduce the rate of accident in that particular road. So all those could be objectives for that particular project. So the objective of a project can be as many as possible as defined by the project sponsor. Understand? Then on the other side, you have the scope. Now the scope is talking about, remember we said the scope is everything you need to know, the questions you need to ask regarding delivering that particular objective. Understand? Now the first objective there is for beautification. Understand? Now, if you are considering beautification, there's going to be a scope. It's also going to tell you, okay, since we want to make it for the purpose of beautification, instead of using that red light, let us use halogen bulb so that the place will be bright and beautiful. Also, we want a particular arrangement pattern that can equally bring out the beauty. So you define, both you and the project sponsor define what what you are going to do to meet up with the objective of that beautification. Then the next one is the security. Now you also define the scope and what is going to be done to meet up with that objective. You can say, okay, maybe instead of wiring the street lights and connecting them to NEPA source, let us instead use a solar system. Because if we say we should use NEPA source, there is a tendency that NEPA can take the light even at critical times and make the whole place dark, and the purpose of that object, which is that objective, will now become defeated. Understand? So instead of relying on NEPA for the source, let us make it a solar system so that at all time the light will be there, thereby eliminating that security challenge and delivering of that objective. So also you go to the sea, you look for what and what will be done to ensure that that light reduces the accident possibility on that road. You define what and what will be done to meet up that objective as well. So that's what the scope is talking about. Then the next thing there is the approach. The approach is talking about the step-by-step moves you are going to make to achieve each of these objectives. Then the next thing there is a milestone. Now the milestone is talking about the time frame for each aspect of that project. This project you're about to carry out, the time frame from each of those aspects. You understand? You give a time frame and what you're going to be delivering within that time frame. Now take for instance, in building a house, there are going to be different stages in building a house. Now the first thing in building a house, you are going to be digging the foundation of that house. Understand? Now the first milestone then can now be, okay, digging of the foundation. How long is it going to take for you to dig that foundation of the house? Maybe you say, okay, digging of the foundation is going to take 1 week, which is 7 days. So which means your first milestone for that project is 7 days, which is 1 week. So in 7 days, you are saying you are going to be delivering on what? The foundation of that house. So that 7 days is what? Your first milestone. Now the second milestone could now be, okay, the raising of the blocks of the house to the roofing level. Understand? You have to raise the block of the house to the roofing. How long is it going to take for you to raise the blocks of the house to the roofing level? Let's say, for instance, you say, okay, that is going to take 2 weeks. You understand? For you to raise the block of that house to the roofing level is going to take 2 weeks. So which means your second milestone is what? 2 weeks. Then maybe the third milestone there will not be roofing of the house. How long is it going to take for you to roof the house? You will equally indicate, maybe you say another 2 weeks to roof the house. You understand? So you state all those milestones there. Now, one thing that is peculiar with the milestone is that you don't just state 7 days for your milestone. You don't just state 7 days. You're going to deliver the foundation of the house in 7 days, or maybe in 1 week, and you write 1 week there. No. In the milestone, you have to state when that 7 days will start and when the 7 days will end. For instance, you can say, okay, you are going to deliver the foundation of the house in 1 week. When is that 1 week starting? It's okay, 1st of August to what? 7th of August. So that 1 week that you're going to be delivering the foundation of that house is starting from 1st of August to what? 7th of August. Then the milestone 2, which is raising of the blocks to the roofing level. You said it's going to take 2 weeks, which is 14 days. When is that 2 weeks starting and when is it ending? That's okay. The 2 is going to start on the 8th of August down to what? 22nd of August. So that's your second milestone. Your second milestone now is 8th of August to what? 22nd of August. Then you said the roofing is equally going to take 2 weeks. Let's say that 2 weeks now will start from 23rd to, let's say, 7th of September. You understand? You also stated there. So in the milestone, you ensure you state the start date and the end date of a particular milestone. So that's what the milestone is talking about. What you are going to be delivering and the time frame you are going to be delivering those uh, uh, deliverables. So that's what the milestone is all about. Then on the other side, you have dependency slash related projects. Now, what this dependency is talking about is that is trying to determine if the projects are dependent on each other. You understand? Now, let's take for instance the first milestone was what? To dig the foundation. Then the second milestone was to raise the blocks of the house to the roofing level. Now, milestone B is dependent on milestone A. Why? Because for you to be able to raise the blocks of the house, you must have done the foundation. You cannot carry out milestone B, which is raising of the blocks of the house to the roofing level, without having done your milestone A. That means milestone B is dependent on what? Milestone A. Then also milestone C is dependent on milestone B. Because you can't be roofing the house when you've not raised the blocks. So you must first of all deliver on milestone B before you can then deliver on milestone C, which is roofing the house. And that means that milestone C is dependent on milestone B. Milestone B has to be completed before you can think of milestone C, while milestone B is dependent on milestone A, which means milestone A has to be completed before you can carry out milestone B. That's what the dependency or related projects is talking about. Also, there are projects that are not dependent or related. You understand? Now, take for instance, in building that house, you are also going to do a fence, build a fence for that house. Now, you set your milestone as milestone A, the foundation for the house. Then milestone B is foundation for the fence. You understand? Now that milestone A, which is the foundation of the house, can be ongoing, and at the same time milestone B, which is the foundation for the fence, can still be ongoing at the same time. You can be building the fence of the house while at the same time also digging the foundation for that house. Understand? So those two projects are not related. They can be going on simultaneously without interruption. You understand? So in such cases, those milestone B, which is the fencing of the house, is not dependent on milestone A. So that's what the dependency is all about. Then you have the deliverables as the next item. Now the deliverable is talking about at that particular milestone that you have given, what are you going to deliver? Now, milestone A, you said is first to seventh. What will you be delivering between that first to seventh? Is what the deliverable is talking about. Now, we have said between first and seventh, we are going to what? Deliver on the foundation of the house. So your deliverable A there is the word foundation of the house. Which is going to take first to 7. Now that your deliverable B is talking about raising of the blocks to the roofing level. So and that is going to be done in 2 weeks, which is 8 to what? 23rd. The state is there. Raising of the will be there for now is what? Raising of the blocks to the roofing level. Then your deliverable C also, you said 2 weeks from 23rd to 7th or 8th of September. You stated there, what are you going to be delivering? You are delivering on what? On the roofing of that house. So that's what the deliverable is talking about. Each of the items you are going to be delivering at that particular milestone that was given earlier. Then the completion criteria is talking about what are the criterias that will determine that you have delivered successfully on that deliverable. That's what they are talking about. For instance, if you say you're going to be in 1 week, you're going to be delivering on the foundation of that house, maybe to the DPC level. Understand? That's what we said you will deliver in 1 week. Now, the completion criteria for that project is that the foundation in 1 week, the foundation must have been done toward the DPC level. So when the project manager or when the project sponsor comes for supervision, what they want to see in that 1 week is that the foundation has you have completed the foundation to the DPC level. You understand? So when they come, that's what they want to see. Anything other than that, it means you've not met up with the completion criteria. You understand? So that's what the completion criteria is talking about. You set your completion criteria for your first deliverable, you set for your second deliverable, and then you set for your third deliverable, and so on and so forth. So when the project sponsor come, the things that you have agreed on as your completion criteria are the things he or she wants to see at that milestone that you have given. So that's what the completion criteria is talking about. Then the next thing that's talking about the assumptions. Now, in carrying out all of this, in giving all of these milestone and promising of all these deliverables, you are doing all this is under certain assumptions. Understand? Now, for instance, you have said your milestone A is to deliver on on the foundation of the house, and it's going to take 7 days. Understand? Now, one of the things you are assuming there is that there's going to be a fair weather. You are assuming that there's going to be what? A fair weather. In the sense that in that 7 days that you have given, you are expecting rain not to fall. Now let's take for instance, in that 7 days there was a heavy downpour and rain fell consistently for straight 3 days and you couldn't walk. It means of that milestone that you have given, that milestone of 7 days that you have given, 3 days are already gone. You understand? So you are promising that 7 days with the assumption that the weather will be fair and allow you people to carry out your work. You understand? Another thing you are assuming there is that you are assuming that all the materials to embark on these projects will be made available at the due time. You have given 7 days as your milestone. Now, what if for one reason or the other, due to supplier one thing happen, and 2 days into the 7 days, the materials are not ready for you to carry out that project? It means 2 days are already gone out of the 7 days that you promised. So you are assuming that all the materials needed for that project will be made available as at when due for you to deliver on that 7 days. Another thing you can be assuming as well is that everybody involved in delivering that deliverable at that milestone will be in good health. What if those that were supposed to dig the foundation or the person responsible for digging the foundation fall ill, seriously ill, and 2-3 days he could not come to work? It means 3 days is already out of that 7 days you give as your milestone. So all these things are some of the assumptions that you are making in giving all these milestones. So you equally state them there as well. Then also the risk and issues. As like we said earlier, as a project manager, you should be able to foresee the likely risks that will occur in the course of the project. You foresee them. Those that you can foresee, you write them. You understand? There are some that will also occur that you may not see. You understand? When they arise, you try to tackle them and include them as well. So that's what the risk and issues is talking about. As a project manager, you try to foresee the possible risk and list them out. So after you have done all this, and the project sponsor is satisfied with it, you are satisfied with it, the project sponsor will sign, put the date, then you also will sign and put the date. Then that will complete the project charter as well as the initiation phase of the project. So after all this is done, you do your phase review to ascertain if everything is okay, if there are no changes to be made. If there are changes, you include the changes. If there are no changes, you then close that phase and what move on to the next phase, which is the planning phase of the project. So that is all for the project charter. Thank you very much for your time.